So now that you've got Google Colab working with Google Drive, hopefully, and you've saved your document into your local Google Drive, you can now edit this document as you like. So in this video, I want to continue working with this document and just show you how you can navigate around Colab documents in general, and then in particular, how you can work on this first assignment. Okay, so let's take a look. So as you can see, when you're working with Google Colab, you are going to work with a browser, a web browser. And since this is a Google app, I would recommend working with Chrome. So I've got a Chrome web browser open. You can use Chrome on any type of operating system. I have a Mac right here. Chrome is working just fine. And what's nice about Chrome is it has all of these Google apps linked in the browser. Okay, and so the file that I was working with was this Adam Spiegler Python Lab 1. And here the file extension for Google Colab documents is IPYNB. So this means Interactive Python Notebook. And for anybody that has worked with these interactive notebooks before, say using Jupyter notebooks, same exact thing here. So we're really just working with Jupyter notebooks in Google Drive. So one thing that's convenient is there's a table of contents. So maybe when you open the document by default, you might not see it. If you want to open up the table of contents or close the table of contents, that's what this button does over here. And so when I wrote up this document, I did it in mind with having a table of contents so that you can scroll through the document and you can see way at the bottom, you have the questions on this assignment that you need to answer. So we'll get to that shortly. And I can click on any section on the table of contents to move around. You can also collapse and expand various sections. So homework 1 is kind of my header 1. And if I collapse this section, it collapses the whole introduction. And now I can see question 1. So these are nice ways as well to kind of collapse and expand different parts of the document. So if you ever see that something appeared and now it seems to have disappeared, you might just need to expand that section of the document. If you prefer, you can just keep them all expanded all of the time. And so Google Colab has 2 different elements to these documents. There are code blocks that you can see here. I can add a text cell, and there are code blocks that I can add as well. So here is an example of a text box. And so this is what I have entered. And these are interactive documents. And so I'll show you how you can edit these if you like. But this first homework assignment, you've got 5 questions to answer way at the end. Some of them are going to involve typing in text, in our case, math equations using LaTeX. And some of it is going to require you to edit some blocks of Python code. So if you are worried about whether you've got the background to do this Python lab or not, I want to assure you that I am assuming that you haven't done any programming before. So you've never opened a Colab document, you've never coded with Python, you've never used LaTeX in your life. So if you have seen these things before, that's great, that might be helpful. If you have never worked with any of these things, that's the point of this assignment, is to introduce you to Google Colab, to introduce you to Python, and to introduce you to LaTeX. I do realize that there's a different learning curve for everybody. So if you find this a little bit intimidating, getting started with programming, please send me an email. And I think the 2 of us could get on Zoom at some point and get you started more smoothly if you're having some trouble. So it shouldn't take you too long to get up and running with this. If you find it taking some time, then I think it would be probably a better use of your time to ask for some help, and you and I can work on that together. Okay, so this is a Google Doc in some sense. So for those that have worked with Google Docs before, you can see that it will save things automatically as you change them. So I haven't changed anything, so it hasn't had to save anything. If you're kind of worried about losing your work, of course, you can always go to File and Save or use the keyboard shortcut to save. So again, I've got this file that I called Adam Spiegler Python Lab 1. Okay, and so we can edit this document by just typing anywhere that we want. So for example, I want to call this not homework 1, but let's say I want to call this instead Python Lab 1. All I need to do is just click on an element that I want to change. So if I want to edit something that's in this text cell, right now you can see that I'm in the cell. There are some different options over here. I think this one will let me edit it. So you can click on pencil to edit, or you can just double click on it and it'll edit it. And now you can see on the right how the text is going to appear on the screen. And you can see on the left kind of its raw unformatted form. So there are various formatting options that you can use in here. For example, putting £1 makes it header 1, and that would change how things were lined up in the table of contents. Putting 2 pound or hashtag symbols over here makes it header 2. And so I just chose header 1, header 2, header 3 based on how I wanted to set up my table of contents. But this is not something you need to worry about at all. And now we've got some bulleted text over here. And again, you could just type whatever you like to edit over here. So for anyone that may have used Markdown, if you've done anything with R in RStudio, used R Markdown, very, very similar feel over here. But again, I'm assuming that you've never seen any of this before. And if you ever want to add an extra cell or add a text cell to the document, then that's what these buttons do up here. So the assignment is going to be, you don't need to edit any of these cells. This is my instructions to all of you. And I'm not going to grade anything in the instructions. You might want to type in some notes. If you want to make some notes to yourself, you're able to edit the text however you like. But what I'd like to talk about is how you're going to work on the questions for this assignment. So mainly what you're going to be editing are the sections at the very end, questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so again, how you're going to submit your final work. So hopefully you've used a good naming convention for your file. You're not going to submit this in Google Drive. What you're going to do is upload this file and make sure that the file has a .ipynb file extension on the end. You're going to upload this into Canvas when you're done. And so in order to upload this in Canvas, just recall you've got a Python Lab 1 assignment. You would click Start the assignment. You would choose the file that you want to add, and you could save that .ipynb file anywhere in your drive and just click on that file. So mine happens to be, I don't know, someplace deep inside of my Google Drive. I could try and find it. So maybe I want to upload an assignment. Just be sure that the file that you upload here is a .ipynb. If you try and upload some other file type, you'll get an error message. So in the end, all of your work should be in one file, and you're going to upload it into Canvas as opposed to share it within Google Drive.